Welcome to the Physical Product Movement, a podcast by Fiddle. We share stories of the world's most ambitious and exciting physical product brands to help you capitalize on the monumental change in how, why, and where consumers buy. I'm your host, Ken Ojuka. In this episode, I talk with Peter Maldonado, CEO and co-founder of CHOMPS, a better-for-you meat snack brand with products made from the highest quality, sustainably sourced proteins. We discuss how to connect with communities around trends to find customers in an organic and authentic way. We discuss the challenge and opportunity of positioning a premium product. And we also talk about the importance of focus and limiting the number of SKUs so you can better serve your customers. You'll get a ton of great advice from this founder. I think you'll like it. All right. Hey, Peter. Thanks for joining me. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well, Ken. How about yourself?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, I'm looking forward to talking with you today. I think your business is awesome. And I think, there's going to be some lessons that will be really applicable to the audience. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, happy to be on here.
Hey, just to kick it off, is there a quote that you could share with the audience?
For sure. Yeah. Okay, so one of them is actually Mark Twain. Okay, so this is this one's actually the secret of getting ahead is getting started, and that to me is like the biggest. That's like my motto, like the way we run our business. I mean, it's every which way. Any kind of new task that we're taking on, it's really just get into it, and then once you're in it, you can tweak things, you can gather feedback, and then you can make adjustments, adapt. And then, kind of repeat that process. So in my mind, that's where success comes from, just getting in there and getting started.
Yeah, I absolutely love Mark Twain. Very simple quote, but very profound as well. So I appreciate it.
For sure.
Hey, so why don't we start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your background, and any hobbies or anything you'd like to share.
For sure. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Long Island, New York, had three sisters, and I ended up going to school down in Palm Beach, Atlantic, actually, in West Palm Beach. Started going to school for like kinesiology, more of like the physical therapy type focused majors. Ended up switching over to business management. I became a personal trainer in college. It's how I paid my way through school. And then it was really where I started to think a lot about nutrition and then the lack of products that were out there. It was really kind of what led me to the business, to CHOMPS, what I'm doing now. But in terms of my personal life now, I live in Naples, Florida. I've got my wife. I have two kids, a 4-year-old boy named Maverick and about 16-month little girl named Rocky. Her full name's Rocklin. Call her Rocky.
I love the names. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the names fit them perfectly. I mean, my life is, it's work. I get to go home and hang out with my kids and then my wife, and it's about that. But it's never a dull moment in my life, although that's about it right there. So I'm an easy person to find. I'm either at the office or at home with my kids.
There you go.
Parked somewhere with kids or on the boat. So yeah.
Cool. So are you guys based in Florida then?
Yeah. So headquarters is here in Naples. And then we have another office in Chicago, actually where most of the team is based. We've found it to be a lot easier to get good talent up in a big city like Chicago, especially with the big CPG presence up there.
Right.
So we've been able to find really great people there. And then we have some other people kind of remote in other parts of the country as well. But as of now, we've got a fairly small team. We're at 23 now total. But yeah, headquarters is here in Naples though.
Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about CHOMPS. What makes it unique in the market for those who've never heard of it before?
So we're in the meat snacks category. What we make are just meat sticks. That's all we do right now. We don't do jerky. We do nothing else. We just do meat sticks. And we like to think that we're the best at it. So if you, from an ingredient standpoint, when I say meat sticks, you're probably thinking something similar to Slim Jims. They're in the similar format. They're like single serve meat sticks, and that's probably the extent of the similarities. From there, all the ingredients in our product are very different. I mean, starting with the protein, we use grass-fed and grass-finished beef, free-range antibiotic-free turkey, grass-fed, grass-finished venison. From a shelf stability standpoint, the product is shelf stable for 13 months. We do that with a combination of sea salt, celery juice, and lactic acid. The three of those things that allow you to avoid all those synthetic and artificial preservatives and things that these other conventional products you'll find at like a gas station, like what they would have in there. Other cool attributes of our product: there's no sugar added at all. So with the Whole30, Keto, Paleo, all of those diet tribes, we fit right in there. Those are really our core customers as well. Yeah. So from a sourcing perspective, we like to talk a lot about that, right? So I know I mentioned the grass-fed and finished. That's not all that we think about, though. There's three main pillars that we're focused on. The one is nutrition. The second is going to be the environmental impact. And the third thing is going to be animal welfare. So when we're sourcing beef, for instance, we have, from an animal welfare standpoint, all the beef is certified humane. I could explain what that means, but there's a certification that from the first day of the animal's life until the very last day, they've every step of the way, they've been raised in a way that's in compliance with this certified humane program, which is very, very important to us. From an environmental standpoint, we are focused on regenerative agriculture. We want to make sure that all of the producers that we work with are going to be focusing on regenerating grasslands. So that means rotational grazing, and there's all different aspects that go into that. But for the bottom line is that we want to make sure that the land where the animals are being raised is actually being improved by the way that we're raising the animals, which benefits the environment. And then the last piece is obviously nutrition, which, all those things I already spoke about, all those nutritional attributes.
Right. Yeah. And I absolutely love that you guys don't have any garbage in your products. It's very, very clean source of protein. And you do emphasize this a lot on your website. So is this something that you guys have always focused on from the beginning? How did you come up with producing a product in this way? And then what are some of the benefits, do you think, that it brings to your business?
Yeah, really good question. So again, going back to my personal training background, one of the things I noticed was that it was just really difficult for me to keep my clients compliant on the diets that I would set up for them. And a lot of these clients, so I was doing this up in Long Island again, where I was born and raised. And I had a lot of these professional people coming out from Manhattan out to their Hampton homes, during the summer, which is where I would meet with them and train them. And these are super busy people, and they're always on the go. So I would write up a whole diet plan and grocery list for them, and they, like, half the time it would fall off the diet plan. So it made it really difficult for me to do my job and for them to see the results that they needed. So I was thinking, I wish that there were some products that I could say, hey, go grab a few of these and keep them in your car, in your suitcase, purse, whatever. And so that was really where the idea came from. But the thing about it is when I created the product, though, I just wanted to make it as healthy as possible, right? I wanted to make them taste great. So my clients or customers would just love eating them anyway. And it worked out really well. We have all of these certifications, like certified paleo, Whole30, certified keto, you name it, it's kind of like certification overload, right? But the thing to know is that we did not set out creating the product to check the boxes for one of these certifications. It's not at all how it happened. It's actually the opposite, right? So we created the product and it just happened to check the boxes for those certifications, which I think makes life a lot easier because we were just focused on creating a great tasting product that was very clean and it worked out perfectly. So we haven't changed our products in the last 8 years in terms of ingredients, what we put in there. Trends have changed, which worked in our favor, obviously. So our product just happened to work really well for the Whole30 movement, for the keto movement. And so we've just gotten a lot of customers from that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So when you started, you wanted a snack to keep your clients compliant on their diet and make it easy as possible for them. But I assume you didn't know how to make a meat stick. What are some of the steps that go into developing a product like this?
Very good question, and you're right. It's actually funny making meat sticks. There's actually a science behind it. It sounds funny, but they're very difficult to make, especially a shelf-stable product that has the lack of preservatives and sugar that we have now.
Right.
That being said, we happen to, so the first step in creating a product like that is finding the right manufacturer that has the equipment and know-how to make it in the first place, right? So we happened to meet a guy who had a very small operation in Greentop, Missouri, who happens to be our current manufacturer now. Back then they have a much bigger plant now, just to put that out there. But he, when we started with him, he was already making some product and he was selling them in little C-stores around where he's from. And so he already had he had the equipment, he had the know-how. We just needed to tweak some of the ingredients he was putting in there. So that was really what all the R&D, that we had done with him, and then created a couple of new flavor profiles that we wanted to launch with. Mm-hmm. But other than that, that was the extent of, the R&D process. And we came up with these flavor profiles very quickly, and they haven't changed since. So we got very lucky, to say the least, that we stumbled on recipes and flavor profiles that work.
Okay. Yeah. How many different flavor profiles did you launch with? One of the things that I think a lot of people do wrong is they launch with too many SKUs, and so the business is complicated from the beginning. How did you guys think about that?
Yep. We wanted to start small because the biggest thing for us, we wanted to test the market first off. We had no idea how these things would sell. So we started making two different SKUs. It was original beef and jalapeno beef. And we created a little website, got some Facebook ads, started, putting them out there. The biggest thing for us was really to see if people other than our friends and family, and especially our mothers, who are our biggest customers early on. Yeah.
Oh, your mothers. Like your mom was like a customer of yours. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Our moms. Yeah. Rashid and I, he's my co-founder, but both of our moms were buying the product from us. But we were like, okay, well, thanks, Mom. But we'd like to see if other customers would actually pay for this stuff. So that's what we set out to do. And we proved that out pretty quickly.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's switch gears a little bit, talk a little bit about marketing and distributing your product. So currently, are the majority of your sales online versus offline or retail? What's kind of the breakdown?
Nowadays, it is about 45% e-commerce, and then the other 55% would be retail. When we started out for the first 4 years, we were strictly e-commerce though. But as we've launched into retail, it's a lot easier to scale that very quickly because there's so many thousands and thousands of doors you could be in. So
okay, I see. And you guys are on Shopify. Is that how you launched?
Yep. Yeah, we launched on Shopify.
And you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned that you guys were able to gain some popularity in some of these sort of niche nutrition communities. Like Whole30 and Paleo. I believe I saw that you guys are Paleo certified, Keto, Weight Watchers. Is there anything specific that you did to reach out to these communities?
No, nothing specific. It was really just kind of introducing ourselves. We would send product out. That's, just seeding. You send product out, you get feedback from them. And then, for us, I think the biggest one for us was really Whole30 originally. With them, it was a pretty stringent, audit process, and they go through, they kind of get into the nitty gritty on every little ingredient. They want to see your spec sheets and all of that. So that for us was big, and it was a huge turning point for the business. Just having and being, getting that certification, they had maybe 10 to 20,000 followers, I think, on their social media at the time. And if you're familiar with Whole30, you know just how massive it is now. I mean,
it's grown a ton.
So that really allowed us to scale our brand as well.
So, I'm curious how you guys thought about this. Is it a trend that you saw, that they were growing? Were you doing Whole30? How did you even know that this was a certification that you should try to get?
Yeah, so I was doing CrossFit at the time, and it was really when I came up with this idea for CHOMPS. I had been seeing, the paleo diet was taking off, but then also I liked the way that the Whole30 was doing it, because they were doing these like seminars in CrossFit boxes, and I really liked the way that they were delivering the education. It wasn't just like, here's a book or here's like a website or whatever. Like they would go into the box, or the box is like the other word for a CrossFit gym, right? And so they go into these gyms and they set up like a whole group of people, and they actually they're in their training and they're doing these seminars, and they're there like face to face, like teaching people. Way before COVID, by the way.
Right. Another time, right? It just feels like it was so long ago that we could do things like that.
I know, right? But yeah, so that was, I really liked what they were doing. I just felt, I liked all the things they were talking about as well. It made so much sense to me. And then I also liked the idea that they were the people that were doing, I knew people that were doing Whole30s and they were having like incredible results. So I'm like, you know what? I think this is going to go somewhere. I introduced myself to the founders and sent some product out and asked them, would you ever give us the Whole30 approval? And they said, well, you have to go through these steps. And so we went through them, and that was really it.
Nice. What about some of the other communities, like Weight Watchers or Keto? How did you get involved there?
So Keto was a little bit different. Keto, it was more along the lines of like the influencer community. So there's actually a guy named Thomas DeLauer, who's one of our top influencers and still is. And he puts out really great educational content, takes this like really hard to understand science-based, nutrition. And he would go and actually put into like layman's terms. And so he's done this on YouTube for years now, but he's built up this pretty enormous following. I liked listening to his content for myself. So I was like, well, I see his following is growing as well. Let's see if he would like to work with us. So I sent him product, introduced myself, and he really liked it. And we decided it was a good fit. And that's really the way we approach all of our partnerships though. Especially if you're thinking influencer, a lot of times it's a customer would, or an influencer would already be a customer of ours, or they're already talking about things that are very relevant. So you just want it to feel like super organic. Like these people are making this recommendation because they truly believe in your product, not just because you're paying them. So I think that authentic recommendation is super important.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I noticed on your website, you guys have an affiliate program. You also have a referral program and a wholesale program. And it sounds like, from what you're saying, that the influencer program has worked well. Is this something that you guys do as part of your marketing efforts, or is it just more organic, that they show interest, or you see somebody that could promote your product particularly well? What does it actually look like in reality to be able to get somebody like, was it Tom? Was that his name?
Yeah. Thomas DeLauer. Yeah.
Thomas, what does that look like internally? Is it, I mean, honestly, is it organic? Like you said, you just saw him and liked him and decided to reach out?
Yeah. I mean, in no case would we ever reach out to somebody if there wasn't just an authentic fit. Right. And so the biggest thing is you want to send the product out, you want to get their feedback. And if they're excited about the product and they're pumped up, or, you could tell that this is a real reaction and they're excited about your brand, then we can think about working with them. But early on, I will say though, we never paid influencers at all. What it would be was like somebody would get the product, they would post about it on Instagram, and we'd say, oh wow, they have a pretty big following. Let's reach out to them. And that's really how those would start. And for the most part, that's actually how most of our influencer arrangements work. Thomas I reached out to him only because I really liked his the way that he was delivering the information. For me, like the way I think about it is like with any kind of product, you need to be able to educate customers, right? So we're a premium product. You could be out there buying these conventional brands that we mentioned earlier. They're about half the price, or you can buy our premium product, which is has premium ingredients, and it's a much better option. But does the general market know that? There's some level of education kind of required there. And so what we found is that these individual diet tribes, they do that heavy lifting for us, right? So they're already educating the customer on what to look for within their products. So it makes so much sense for us to be, entrenched inside of those communities, and we just, we do everything we possibly can to make sure that we're known. But again, yeah, with Thomas, I mean, he was already talking about making his grass-fed beef, and he was already talking about all of the ingredients, he was talking about avoiding sugars, avoiding all the types of bad ingredients that are not in our products. So I'm like, man, this is an easy fit. He would love this. So yeah, that's really how it comes about.
Okay. Very cool. And it looks like you guys also, you sell on your own website, but you also sell in Amazon. How do you guys think about selling on Amazon, and how has that experience been?
Yeah. So Amazon is a behemoth, as we all know. It's an amazing platform. We originally, when we first started on it, it was going to be like supplementing our direct to consumer business, but we wanted to be able to own that relationship with the customer, to be able to, speak to them, to be able to send them any kind of emails and, education and all of this other stuff. But what we found over time is that you can't compete with Amazon. It's just too massive. And what's become over time is the number one way for customers to do their scouting of products, and from a prospecting perspective, there's no other platform that even compares.
Right.
It's just if you're not on Amazon right now and you've got an e-commerce based product, I think you're missing out from a big portion of the community of the population. It just shops there. And we'll even find, even if we're doing sales, like let's say we're doing a sale and we blast out on social and we put a discount code to our website, people will still see that. And we see a massive spike on Amazon, even though they can't use that discount code on Amazon, they'll still go there just because it's an easier option for them to go and buy the product. They probably already have some other stuff in their cart. They add CHOMPS and they're like, oh, this is good. But yeah, again, people they go for Amazon all the time because it's very convenient and with the fast shipping and still all things that we just can't compete with.
Right. So you kind of have to be there. How do you reconcile, that desire that you initially talked about, where you want to have this direct relationship with your customer, but they want to shop on Amazon? So I mean, how do you guys think about that? Is it just you need to be on Amazon, or else you're missing out, or is there a little bit more to it?
No, I think it's so for us, Amazon, it helps us build our brand, So if you think about it, if we think about we're driving trial, we're getting the product into many more people's mouths. And on top of it, it's good business, right? It's good, profitable business for us. So the way that we feel about it, I mean, it's all part of the omni-channel approach. And who knows, we get people that just show up to our website where we can't really pinpoint where exactly they saw the product or tried it for the first time. Nowadays, back when we were only on with e-com, you can always tell exactly where someone came from, right? Nowadays, We're in so many different retail stores. People could be trying the product really anywhere. So we're not quite sure in terms of attribution and where they're coming from. But in the end, I just feel like Amazon, if you're not doing it, you're missing out. And we know for a fact that if we did not have product on Amazon, we would be missing. It's probably a lot of people that actually buy from our website now too, So. Right.
Okay. And just switching gears a little bit, you guys are also in a bunch of retail outlets. You're in Kroger, Walmart, Safeway, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and many others. How did these partnerships come about?
So our very first retail customer was Trader Joe's, and they reached out to us in 2016, early 2016. We launched in August, so that was a turning point for the brand. We were suddenly overnight just getting into the hands of millions of new customers that all shop at Trader Joe's. So with that, we were able to kind of use that momentum to springboard into other accounts and other channels. One big thing though, I would say is if you're a brand owner and you're doing the same thing, you need to go very slowly and be selective with the retail partners that you work with.
Mm-hmm.
We got lucky in terms of that. Like Trader Joe's is an amazing partner to work with. Like they're great, and especially for a new company and with your first it being your first retail account, it's a major blessing. But so what we did actually, we decided, we were like, you know what, this is a huge opportunity for us. We love Trader Joe's. We just want to be the best possible vendor to them. So we spent the entire rest of the year, like for all of 2017, just focusing on being a great Trader Joe's brand, right? And selling to them and supporting their customers and getting all of our systems and processes and QA processes and all of that in check. And then making sure that we were a great vendor to them. And we didn't launch another retail partner until over a year after our first launch with Trader Joe's.
So why would you say that you need to be selective about your retail partners? What are you guarding against by doing that?
Yeah, they're not all great partners, to put it bluntly. I mean, you've got a lot of retail partners that are going to be more interested in the upfront slotting dollars than they are truly growing a brand and getting people to actually buy products. So there are a handful of retailers out there that will make probably the most of their money from brands and just getting a check cut to them up front to put you on the shelf with
Mm-hmm.
no real interest at all in making sure that the product turns, that their customers are seeing it, that it's merchandised properly, that it's in stock. And it just becomes it's a drain financially, and I think it's physically draining too to be dealing with that type of a partnership, right? Where you're doing everything you can to be a great partner, and then it's not reciprocated. So it makes it really difficult to build a business together.
Understood. Yeah. And, I think it's important. We've used this word several times, but these are, these retail partners are truly partners, and you got to think about it more in a long-term fashion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess let's switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk about sourcing your ingredients. And you guys have got lots of content on your website about the care and the time, the effort that goes into sourcing the highest quality ingredients. And it looks like you get a bunch of your ingredients from New Zealand. Is that right?
So the beef comes from Tasmania and Southern Australia. So
okay.
That's where all the beef comes from. And then we actually use venison, which comes from New Zealand. But we use a lot more beef than we do venison. We have a single venison SKU, and then we have 4 beef SKUs now. Actually, make that 5. We have 5 now. So,
Got it.
Yeah, the bulk of our protein use is between beef and then turkey. So turkey is all domestic here in California and Minnesota.
Okay, so when considering the quality and really looking for the best suppliers and manufacturers for a food product like this, how do those decisions affect things like your lead times or your cash flow? It obviously leads to better product quality. But I'm just curious about, some of the things that you guys have to consider when obviously going after some of these premium ingredients and premium sources.
Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head on that timeline piece. Cause when you're sourcing from Tasmania and you're buying container loads of beef, it takes a very long time to get here. What we were doing actually, it takes about 2 weeks, by the way. And
okay. That's shorter than I would have thought. Actually, I thought it might take a little bit longer, but 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's actually the shortest. It's at least 2 weeks, but it can be longer, like 3 weeks, between 2 weeks to a month, actually, depending on what the time of year. But what we've actually been able to kind of get around that by getting in domestic distributor that handles all of the actual importing of the product. So they handle 2 things for us. So they bring in the product, then they store it, and they slack it out. So this distributor is actually about maybe it's about an hour away from our plant in Missouri. Mm-hmm. He's also in Missouri, and he holds on to however many pallets of beef that we have. What he'll do is he slacks it out, which is thawing it out, getting it ready and for production. So when he pulls up and he delivers it to my manufacturer, it's already to temperature. It's ready to go right into processing. Because if you have frozen beef that we try to go and put in our grinders, that does not work well. And it causes a lot of different things with shrink and all of that. So yeah, what you want to be able to do is we get the beef to a certain spec. And at that point is when we want to deliver it to the manufacturer.
Okay, awesome. And from your manufacturer, then where does that get delivered to?
So the manufacturer is actually going to make the sticks. He's going to put them in the wrappers and then pack them into our caddies, put them in case boxes, and then he ships that over to our Chicago warehouse. It's another USDA facility. And at that point, what we do is you let the product sit there for about 30 days. And we call it an incubation process when it really just kind of sits there. And and it's in dry storage, so it's at room temperature. And then after 30 days, we do a hand inspection. So we literally hand inspect every single stick that we made. So if we just made 3 or 4 million sticks for that month, we go and hand inspect 3 and 4 million sticks. And
wow.
it's a huge undertaking. It's very expensive to do. But it's something that we choose. It's how we choose to invest our money.
Sure. And then from that warehouse, does it end up going, do you guys use fulfillment centers, or is that warehouse in Chicago where everything gets shipped out of?
We do. We actually use so we have another, so from Chicago, from that Chicago warehouse, we can actually do palletized or truckload orders. And so we ship those it could be distributors to the grocery stores. So Unify, KeHE, McLean. And then we also ship over to a third-party order fulfillment website, order fulfillment partner that warehouses product that's only for direct consumer and smaller retail partners. So if they're shipping like a case or might be like up to like 15 cases of product, it could come out of that warehouse, but anything half a pallet or larger is going to come out of our Chicago warehouse.
Okay, awesome. Well, what does the future hold for CHOMPS? Is there anything in particular you're excited about?
There's a lot that we're excited about. But yeah, we've got some innovation in the pipeline, which I can't talk about yet. I'll be happy to share with you when it's going. But, we're right now though, what we're trying to do is just stay laser focused. We had 3 of our biggest launches that we've ever had, like Sprouts, Whole Foods, Kroger, Walmart. And we have some big ones coming up this year as well. And, so we're just looking to keep our heads down and execute. But at the same time, we want to be able to continue just building our brand and making a bigger impact and really telling our brand story and our reason for being and all those good things. So a lot of that for this year, we're going to tell that story with added content. So content's key right now, especially with people, so many people being home, working from home, shopping from home and all of that. We want to make sure that we're meeting our customer where they are and continue to tell our story.
Okay. Awesome. And congrats on the success. So let's get to the quick fire round. I'll just ask you a question. You just give me a quick answer. Name one tool or resource that you use to run your business.
Recharge.
What's that?
Recharge is a Shopify app that's used for subscription.
Okay, nice. What is one book that you feel has helped you the most in your product journey?
So this book's called Upstream. It's Dan Heath, and it says the quest to solve problems before they happen. So it's this is actually a book that I have a leadership coach that we've been working with for a few years now. She's amazing, but this is a book she recommended to me that I've been reading, and it's awesome.
Cool. We'll make sure to put a link to the book in the show notes. What is one piece of advice that you would give your 21-year-old self?
Stay focused. Pick one thing and do that to the best of your ability and try to be the best at it, right? If I look back when I was 21, I was doing way too many things, had my hands in, way too many opportunities and just unfocused. And I feel like I would have been much more successful if I would have just focused on one thing.
Okay. Who is one person in the world that you'd love to take to lunch?
Today I would actually probably say like Tim Ferriss. I like that guy. He's pretty good. I've been following him for a very long time. And this changes all the time, by the way. I've been asked this question before, but for today, I would say Tim Ferriss.
Right. I love Tim Ferriss as well. I've been following him since he began, actually, since the beginning. I think you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but what's your situation? You single, married, kids?
I'm married, 2 kids.
Okay, nice. All right. So as we wrap up here, I'd just like to ask you if there's any advice that you'd give to people who are currently grinding it out in the world of physical products.
Yeah, again, I would definitely do whatever you can to stay focused. Don't get excited about that next shiny thing, that next opportunity. I would say if you have something that's working, continue building that up to scale before you try to add any kind of line extensions or, adding or building the brand. In my mind, I just feel like if you could just focus on that one thing and be the best, it's going to serve you well.
Awesome. And is there anything that you want to promote or plug?
Chomps, man. Chomps.com.
Nice.
I will say, actually, if you follow our social media account, where there's one charity or nonprofit that I'm really excited about partnering with in February. It's called Harboring Hearts. So their focus is working with people that have had heart conditions. And they'll go and actually they raise funds for these it's basically heart condition patients, and there's all different types of heart conditions involved there. So Harboring Hearts, I would say check that out. Very important to us.
Okay. And Peter, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to contact you?
Email peter@chomps.com, or you can hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Very easy to find.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, it's been great talking to you. You've got a great story and your product's top quality. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. All right, have a good one.
All right, good luck with everything. See ya. Bye. The Physical Product Movement Podcast is brought to you by Fiddle. To find out more about Fiddle and how our industry-leading inventory ops platform is giving modern brands and manufacturers full visibility into their inventory and operations, visit fiddle.io, and then make sure to search for Physical Product Movement in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Fiddle, thanks for listening.